Good evening, students. In today's great topic, we are going to see the PN junction diode. There are two types of semiconductors involved by P-type and N-type semiconductors. These semiconductors, when they are used separately, they find a very little use. If we join a piece of P-type material and a N-type material, it will be forming a junction. The junction will be called as a PN junction diode. It can function as rectifier, amplifier, switching, and other operations in electronic circuits. A PN junction cannot be produced by simply pushing two pieces together or because it will give rise to discontinuities across the crystal structure. There are special fabrication techniques adapted to PN junction diode. What is a PN junction diode? A PN junction is a device formed by joining P with N-type material separated by a thin junction is called as a PN junction diode, or in simple it is called as a junction diode. This is the electronic symbol which is shown in the slide. The triangle will show the irrigation of the flow of current. So there is a P-type material and N-type material which is being separated by a small thin layer. That thin layer will be called as a depletion layer. In PN junction diode, N is at right and P is at left. Majority carriers of PN junction diode are in N region, electrons are the majority carriers, and in P region, holes are the majority carriers. How the depletion layer is being formed? There is no any external connections. Excess electron in the N region will cross and combines with the excess holes in the P region. N region tend to donate the electrons and it becomes positively charged, and P region will accept the electron, it becomes negatively charged. At one point, the migration of electrons and holes will get stopped. An additional electron from the N region are repelled by the net negative charge of the P region. Similarly, an additional holes from the P region are repelled by the net positive charge of the N region. Then what will be the net result? A creation of thin layer of each side of the junction which is depleted. It means emptied of mobile charge carriers. This is known as the depletion layer. The thickness is of the order of 10 to the power minus 6 meter. The depletion layer contains no free and mobile charge carriers but only fixed and immobile ions. The layer of the depletion layer depends upon the doping level. What is doping? The process of adding impurities in order to improve the concentration of the charge carriers. If the charge carriers are heavily doped, then the thickness of the depletion layer is very thin. If the charge carriers are lightly doped, then the depletion layer thickness will be very thick. Potential barrier. The electrons has to climb the potential hill in order to reach the P region. Electrons will try to cross from the N region to the P region. It will be experiencing a retarding field of the battery and therefore it gets repelled. Similarly, the same action will be happen for the holes from the P region when the holes tend to move from the P region to the N region. The potential thus produced are called as the potential barrier, which will prevent the movement of the holes and the electrons from the P region to the N region and N region to the P region. The potential barrier volt for the germanium and silicon is, for germanium it is 0.3 volt and for silicon it is 0.7 volt. So this is the PN junction diode circuit diagram. It will be basically operating in the two types of modes. One will be the forward bias mode and another will be the reverse bias mode. Forward bias, from the name itself you can understand, that is positive to positive and negative to negative. The positive terminal of the battery is being connected to the P region and negative terminal of the battery is being connected to the N region. Then this mode will be called as the forward bias mode. What is reverse bias mode? Here also, from the name itself you can understand, the positive terminal of the battery is being connected to the N region and negative terminal of the battery should be connected to the P region. It forces the majority charge carriers to move across the junction so that the depletion layer width gets decreased. In order to decrease the width of the depletion layer, it will forces the majority charge carriers to move across the junction. That is, electrons from the N region tend to move to the P region, holes from the P region tend to move from the N region in order to reduce the depletion layer width. Once the junction is crossed, a number of electrons and the holes will recombine together. For each hole in the P section that combines with an electron from the N section, a covalent band breaks and an electron is liberated which enters the positive terminal. This will create an electron-hole pair. The current in the N region is being carried by the majority carrier as electrons, whereas current in the P region is being carried by the majority carrier by holes. Reverse bias PN junction. If the positive of the battery is being connected to the negative terminal and N-type material, and the negative terminal of the battery is being connected to the P-type, the free electrons and free holes are being attracted back towards the battery. Hence, back from the depletion layer will grow wider and wider. Thus, a reverse bias PN junction does not conduct any current, or it will be simply conduct zero current. Only the minority carriers will cross the junction, constituting very low reverse saturation current. The current will be in the order of a microamperes. VA characteristics of PN junction diode. The curve drawn between voltage across the junction along x-axis and the current through the circuit along the y-axis. That is, a voltage will be along the x-axis and current will be along the y-axis. It will describe the DC behavior of the diode. When it is in forward bias, no current flows until the barrier voltage 0.3 volt for germanium is overcome. When the threshold voltage will be exceeded, then the curve has a linear rise and the current will tend to increase with the increase in forward voltage like an ordinary conductor. Above 3 volt, the majority carriers passing the junction will gain sufficient energy to knock out the valence electron and it will raise them to the conduction band. Therefore, the forward current will increase sharply and linearly. With reverse bias, potential barrier at the junction gets increased, junction resistance will also increase and prevents the current flow. However, the minority carriers are accelerated by the reverse voltage, resulting in a very small current, which is called as the reverse current. It will be in the order of microamperes. When a reverse voltage is increased beyond a value, it is called as a breakdown voltage. The reverse current will increase sharply. That will make the device to break down. It is known as the avalanche breakdown. Reverse voltage is above 25 volt. It will destroy the junction permanently. This is the working graph of the PN junction diode. Here we have the two set of bias. One is forward bias and then reverse bias. In the forward bias, P type to P terminal of the battery and N type to the negative terminal of the battery is being connected, so that the current will be under given bias. The current tend to increase sharply and linearly. Whereas in the reverse bias, P type is being connected to the negative terminal of the battery and N type is being connected to the positive terminal of the battery to form the reverse bias condition. Under such conditions, or the reverse resistance has been increased so that there won't be any current flow. There won't be any current flow in the reverse bias condition, or we can call it a zero current conduction current. So if it is being increased, what happens? The current has been tend to the voltage has been increased to 25 volts in the reverse bias condition. In that case, what happens? So a breakdown will be occur, that is called as the avalanche or Zener breakdown. The PN junction diode acts as a rectifier as seen in the IV characteristics. Certain current will flows in the forward bias mode. Negligible current or zero current will be flows in the reverse bias mode. Thus, the PN junction diodes allows the electron flow only when the P is in positive type. The property is used for conversion of AC into DC, which is called as the rectification. It can also be used as a switch both in forward bias and in the reverse bias. When it is being closed, it will be used in the forward bias. When the switch is being open, it is used in the reverse bias. Advantages of PN junction diode. There is no filament is necessary. It will occupies only lesser space and it withstand its long life. Applications. It can be used as a rectifier to convert AC to DC. It can act as a switch in computer circuits. It can also be used as a detector in radio FM and AM radio receivers. It also uses an LED to emit different colors. So that's all about the theoretical part of the PN junction diode. I hope so you have understood it. So in this we have come across what is PN junction diode, how a junction is being formed, how a potential barrier is being formed, what is the depletion layer, what are the two modes of PN junction diode, forward bias and reverse bias. Then we saw the working of the PN junction diode. Finally it has been ended with advantages and the applications. Then we move on to the practical problems, tutorial problems associated with this PN junction diode. Now we will move on to the PN junction theory and diodes, the gate problems. So the first problem is the diffusion capacitance of a PN junction is, there are four options. First one is decreases with increasing current and increasing temperature, decreases with decreasing current and increasing temperature, increases with increasing current and increasing temperature. Fourth one is does not depend on current and temperature. The solution is diffusion capacitance exists when the junction is forward biased. When the PN junction is said to be in forward bias, the diffusion capacitance is said to be existent. The value of diffusion capacitance is usually much greater than the transition capacitance CT. Diffusion capacitance is important for the minority charge carriers. It is given by the following relation: CD is equal to eta I divided by Ri divided by eta Vt. This R will be called as the mean lifetime carriers. I will be the forward current in the forward bias. Eta is a constant whose value is 1 for germanium and 2 for silicon. Vt is the volt equivalent of temperature. So Vt is equal to T divided by 11,600. If the current decreases, the value of CD also decreases. See, since the diffusion capacitance CD is directly proportional to the current, if the current value gets decreased, the CD will be decreases. Both are directly proportional. Similarly, when the equivalent volt of temperature gets increases, the diffusion capacitance will decreases because both are indirectly proportional. So it suits with the option B, that is decreasing with decreasing current and increasing temperature. So CD diffusion capacitance is directly proportional to the current. As the current decreases, diffusion capacitance decreases, as well as CD is inversely proportional to the equivalent volt temperature. So equivalent volt temperature gets increases, the current diffusion capacitance gets decreases. So the right option is B. Next, in the circuit shown below, the current voltage relationship when D1 and D2 are identical is given by, here we are taking a germanium diode. D1 and D2 are the two diodes. One will be in the forward bias condition and another will be in the, this will be in the forward bias and this will be in the reverse bias condition. D1 will be in forward bias condition and D2 will be in the reverse bias condition. So the expression I have given in four options. So we have to identify the current voltage relationship, that is VA relationship. In the given circuit, diode D1 is forward biased while D2 is reverse biased. The current through the D1 is forward current, which is ID1, and current through the D2 is reverse current, ID2. As per the circuit, the total current is given by I is equal to ID1 plus ID2. The current flows, sum of the current flow in diode 1 and diode 2. Diode current is given by I is equal to I naught of e to the power V by eta Vt minus 1. So V is the diode voltage, T is the temperature in degree Kelvin, eta value is 1 for germanium and 2 for silicon, and so eta is equal to 1 for both germanium and silicon for large currents. So the current I is given by I is equal to I naught of e to the power V by eta Vt minus 1 plus I naught, which is equal to I naught into e to the power V divided by eta Vt. Now I by I naught is equal to e to the power V by eta Vt. From this, you just calculate this V. This exponential will goes to these LHS, so it becomes a natural logarithm. So V is equal to eta Vt into ln of I by I naught. Now assume eta is equal to 1. Now this Vt is Kt by Q ln of I by I naught. So the correct option is B. V is equal to Kt by Q. V is equal to Kt by Q ln of I by I naught. That's the correct answer. Next. Next problem. The switching speed of P plus N junction having heavily doped P region depends primarily on options are mobility of minority carriers in the P plus region, lifetime of minority carriers in the P plus region, the mobility of majority carriers in the N region, lifetime of majority carriers in the N region. The P plus N diode has heavily doped P region. Under forward bias, electrons are injected from N region to the P region and holes are injected from P region to the N region. This is the universal fact. These injected carriers becomes minority carriers in the other region and recombined with the majority carriers and decay exponentially with the distance. So the switching speed of P plus N junction depends on the lifetime of the majority carriers in the N region, which is slightly doped region. So the correct answer is the lifetime of majority carriers in the N region. Next. Next question. In a Zener diode, only the P region is heavily doped. Only the N region is heavily doped. Both P and N region are heavily doped. Both P and N region are lightly doped. Okay. So what is Zener breakdown and avalanche breakdown? When see that is in forward bias, the current will tend to increase gradually, whereas in the reverse bias, due to the reverse resistance, higher value of reverse resistance, the current will be very less, or simple we can call it as zero current in the reverse bias condition. So Zener breakdown takes place in a very thin region. When the very thin junction will be takes place happened when heavily doped region. So doping profile is inversely proportional to the thickness of the depletion region. If the doping profile is very high, the thickness of the depletion region is very less. If the doping profile is very less, then the thickness of the depletion region is very high. So when both sides of the junction are heavily doped and thus the depletion layer is narrow, that is very thin. In Zener breakdown mechanism, electric field becomes very high in depletion layer with only small reverse bias voltage. In the process, some electrons jump across the barrier from valence band in P material to some unfilled conduction band in N material. This is known as Zener breakdown. So obviously the option is both P and N region are heavily doped. Next, the fifth question is, in a uniformly doped abrupt PN junction, the doping of the N side is 4 times the doping level of the P side. The ratio of the depletion layer of width of N side versus P side is, the options are 0.25, 0.5, 1 and 2. So in the transition region of PN junction, electrons and holes are in transit from one side of the junction to the other side. Some electrons diffuse from N top and some are swept by electric field from P to N. Space charge neutrality of the semiconductor requires total negative space charge per unit area in the P side must be equal to the total positive space charge per unit area in the N side. So the expression are Na minus into XPO equal to Nd plus into Xno. The positive and negative signs on Na and Nd indicates the types of space charges. Xno by Xpo is equal to Na minus by Nd plus, which is equal to Na minus divided by Nd plus is 4 times of Na. Okay, 4 Na minus. So which is equal to 1 by 4. The correct answer is 0.25. Or we can say, see in simple, we can how you can determine the answer for this question is, in a uniformly doped abrupt PN junction, the doping level of the N side is 4 times than that of the doping level of P side. So then they are asking what is the ratio of the depletion layer. Okay, so the ratio means 1 to 1. Okay, 1 to another. So here P to N, the P type is 1 and N type is 4 times P. So P ratio from P to N, the depletion layer ratio is P to N is 1 by 4. So obviously the answer is 0.25. Next, the small signal capacitance of an abrupt P plus N junction is 1 nanofarad at 0 bias. If the built-in voltage is 1 volt, the capacitance at a reverse bias voltage of 99 volts. Options are 10, 0 0.1, 0 0.01 and 100. The solution is, capacitance at the 0 bias is 1 nanofarad. We have to find the capacitance at reverse bias of 99 volt. The reverse bias capacitance is called depletion capacitance. or junction capacitance, and it is given by Cj is equal to K by Vb minus Vr the whole power n. Vb is the barrier voltage, Vr is the applied voltage bias, and n is equal to 1 by 2 for the step junction, 1 by 3 for linearly graded junction. Since here the junction is abrupt, Cj not at that is Cj at 0 volt is equal to K divided by 1 plus 0 the whole power 1 by 2, which is equal to K. Now Cj junction capacitance at 99 volt reverse bias is K by 1 plus 99 the whole power 1 by 2. 1 plus 99 is 100, root of 100 is 10, then K by 10. So now Cj 0 by Cj 99 equal to K divided by K by 10. K gets cancelled. 1 by 1 divided by 1 by 10. One denominator to the another denominator, it goes to the numerator. So the value will be 10. Now Cj 99 is equal to Cj 0 by 10. Cj value already we know 1 nanofarad. 1 by 10 is 0.1 nanofarad. So option is B is the correct answer. Next. Referring to the below figure, the switch S is in position 1 initially, and the steady state condition exists from time t is equal to 0 to t is equal to t naught. At t is equal to t naught, the switch is suddenly thrown into position 2. The current I through the 10 kilo ohm resistor as a function of time t from t equal to 0 is, see out in the figure. Now see the pin diode can be used as a switch. We saw it in the applications. So this S, so the initially the pin diode acts as a switch. It will be in the position 1. Then a transition has been takes place from t is equal to 0 to t is equal to t naught. The switch will be moved to the position 2. Okay, so the switch is suddenly thrown into position 2, that is reverse biased. When the diode is instantaneously switching from conduction state, it needs some time to return to non-conduction state. Now see, when the switch is being in position 1, it is in forward bias condition. So that what happens, it will be in the conduction state. Now when at time t is equal to t naught, the switch will be moved on to the position 2. It will be in the reverse bias condition. It is in the non-conduction state. Now the transition, that is moving, changing from conduction state to non-conduction state, it will take some little bit time. So in that condition, a short circuit has been exhibited for the little time, even in the reverse direction. So this why it has been happened means due to the accumulation of stored excess minority charges when the diode was forward biased. I will give you an example. See, once you switch on the TV with the remote, so immediately suddenly the TV is not being switched off. The indication LED light, small light will be in the TV. So it will be glow for a certain period of seconds. You would have noticed it. Why it has been provide the blinking even though the TV is being switched off by the remote with the remote. It is with the help of the residual charge carriers. Already the charge is being flowing. The accumulation of the stored charge carriers, it will be left out in the device. So with that charge, it will be able to perform. It will be able to perform for a period of seconds. That's why it is able to glow for a period of seconds. The time required to return back to the state of non-conduction state is reverse recovery time, which is storage time plus transition time. So IF is equal to V by R, which is equal to as per Ohm's law, V is equal to IR. From I is equal to, from that I is equal to V by R. V they have given 20 volt and R is 10 kilo ohm. So it will be IF will be the forward current will be the 2 milliampere. I is equal to V by R1, 20 divided by R1 minus of 20 minus V by R1, which is minus 20 by 10 k ohm. It is equal to minus 2 milliampere. Next, the inbuilt potential in a PN junction diode, the options are, is equal to the difference in the Fermi level of the two sides expressed in volts, increases with increase in the doping level of the two sides, increases with the increase in temperature, is equal to the average of the Fermi levels of the two sides. The solution is, the contact potential is given by the separation of energy band between the valence band and the conduction band. So it is given as ECP minus EVP equal to ECN minus EVN, which is equal to QV0. It is given by V0 is equal to KT by Q ln of NA ND by NA square. V0 is equal to EIP minus EF plus EF minus EIN, which is equal to EIP minus EIN is equal to KT by Q ln of NA by NA square plus KT by Q ln of ND by NA square. You take KT by Q commonly outside into ln of ln by Q Na square also common, ln of Na Nd by Na square. That's the expression. So as Na and Nd increases, KT ln of Na Nd by Na increases, Na square increases. So the contact potential V0 will be increases. So that the correct options are here, both A and B are correct options. Next, a Zener diode in the circuit has a knee current of 5 milliampere and a maximum allowed power dissipation of 300 milliwatt. What are the minimum and maximum load currents that can be drawn safely from the circuit, keeping the output voltage V0 constant at 6 volt? The options are 0 milliampere, 180 milliampere, 5 milliampere, 110 milliampere, 10 milliampere, 55 milliampere, 60 milliampere, 180. The knee current is 5 milliampere. Maximum power dissipation is 300 milliwatt. Output voltage is 6 volt. Output voltage is equal to Zener voltage, which is equal to 6 volt. That is V naught equal to Vz. Maximum power dissipation of Zener equal to Iz max into Vz. 300 milliwatt equal to 6 volt into Iz max. Iz max equal to 300 milliwatt by 6. So the option answer is 50 milliampere. Current through 50 ohm resistor is given by I is equal to 9 minus 6 by 50, which is equal to 3 by 50. It is 60 milliampere. Now, minimum and maximum current through the load can be obtained as IL minimum equal to I minus Iz max, which is equal to 60 minus 50, 10 milliampere. IL max equal to I minus Iz minimum, which is equal to 60 minus 5 equal to 55 milliampere. So the option is C is the right answer. Next. A PN junction in series with a 100 ohm resistor is forward biased so that the current of 100 milliampere is flows. A PN junction, it is being connected with a series resistance 100 ohm. A forward bias current of 100 milliampere is being flowing in the circuit. If the voltage across this combination is instantaneously reversed at t equal to 0, then the current through the diode is given by options are 0 milliampere, 100 milliampere, 200 milliampere and 50 milliampere. A PN junction is in series with 100 ohm resistor. PN junction is basically a diode. So here the junction diode has been connected with the series resistance 100 ohm. Forward current through the diode is 100 milliampere. V by R is equal to 100 milliampere. V is equal to R is 100 into 100 milliampere equal to 10 volt. Therefore, V is equal to 10 volt. When the voltage is reversed, the PN junction is switched from conduction state to the non-conduction state. It needs some time to return to the non-conduction state. It will exhibit a short circuit for the little time. This is due to the accumulation of the stored excess magnetic charges when diode is biased. So the current will be 100 milliampere. The options are B. B is the right answer. Next. A Zener diode regulator in the figure is to be designed to meet the specification. IL is equal to 10 milliampere, V0 is equal to 10 volt and Vn is equal varies from 30 to 50 volt. The Zener diode voltage as Vz is equal to 10 volt and Izk knee current is 1 milliampere. Then what will be the options? R is less than or equal to 1800 ohm, or 2000 ohm less than or equal to R less than or equal to 2200 ohm, 3700 less than or equal to R less than or equal to 4000 ohm, or R is greater than 4000 ohm. Zener diode regulator is to be designed. IL is equal to 10 milliampere, V0 is equal to 10 volt, and input voltage is switching from 30 to 50 volt. Zener voltage is 10 volt, and knee current is 1 milliampere. The current provided by the input circuit should provide load current plus Zener current. So Vi min minus Va by R greater than or equal to Iz min plus IL. When Vin is equal to 30 volt, 30 minus 10 by R greater than or equal to 10 plus 1 into milliampere. So 30 minus 20 by R is greater than or equal to 11 milliampere. R is less than or equal to 1818 ohm. When Vn is equal to 50 volt, 50 minus 10 by R greater than or equal to 10 plus 1 milliampere. So 40 by R greater than or equal to 11 into 10 power minus 3. R is less than or equal to 3636. So thus from equation 1 and 2, the value of R is less than or equal to 1818. So the option A is the right answer. A is the right answer. Next, at 300 degree Kelvin for a diode current of 1 milliampere, a certain germanium diode requires a forward bias of 0.1435 volt where a certain silicon diode requires a forward bias of 0.718 volt. Under the conditions stated above, the closed approximation of the ratio of reverse saturation current in germanium diode to that in silicon diode is, options are 1, 5, 4 into 10 power 3 and 8 into 10 power 3. So here two diodes are given, one is germanium and another one is silicon having forward current of 1 milliampere. One has to find the reverse saturation current ratio. The diode current formula is, you know, that I is equal to I naught of e to the power v by eta vt minus 1. For germanium, IgE is equal to I naught GE of e to the power Vg by eta Vt minus 1. For silicon diode, it is ISI equal to I naught of ISI into e to the power Vs by eta Vt minus 1. Since current is same for both for forward bias, 1 milliampere equal to I naught G of V to the power Vg by eta Vt minus 1 equal to I naught Si of e to the power Vs by eta Vt minus 1. I naught and I naught will get cancelled. So Ge by Si is equal to e to the power Vge by eta Vt minus 1 divided by e to the power Vsi by eta Vt minus 1, which is nearly equal to e to the power Vge by eta Vt by e to the power Vsi by eta Vt. So e to the power Ge they have given 0.1 into by 2 into 0.026 divided by e to the power 0.1435 divided by 1 into 0.026, which is nearly equal to 4176. It is 4 into 10 power 3. Match the items in group 1 with group 2 most suitably. The group 1 is LED, avalanche photodiode, tunnel diode, laser, and in group 2 it is heavy doping, coherent radiation, spontaneous emission, current gain. LED, you know it very well, it is spontaneous emission. So for LED it is a 3, match with 3. Avalanche photodiode, it's operate on avalanche effect where there is large current gain, so 4. Then tunnel diode, it is being heavily doped, so 1. And laser, it is coherent detection radiation, it is 2. So the option C is the right answer, 3, 4, 1, 2. Moreover, once you find C, LED, its spontaneous emission, you know that it starts with 3. The rest of the option doesn't start with 3, so the C row is the right answer. Next, choose proper subtitle for X and Y. To make the following statement correct, tunnel diode and avalanche photodiode are operated in X bias and Y bias respectively. The options are X is reverse, Y is reverse. B option X is reverse, Y is forward. C X is forward, Y is reverse. And D X is forward, Y is forward. Tunnel diode is always operated in forward bias where it gives negative resistance regime. Light operated devices are operated in reverse bias. Avalanche photodiode operate in reverse bias. So the option is C, X is forward bias and Y is the reverse bias. Because tunnel diode always operates in forward bias, whereas the light operated device will operates in reverse bias. So the option is X is forward and Y is reverse. So C is the right answer. Next, consider an abrupt PN junction. Let VBI be built-in potential of this junction and VR be the applied reverse bias. If the junction capacitance is 1 picofarad for VBI plus VR equal to 1 volt, then for VBI plus VR equal to 4 volt, the junction capacitance will be, options are 4 picofarad, 2 picofarad, 0.25 picofarad and 0.5 picofarad. For an abrupt PN junction diode, the capacitance is given by Cj is directly proportional 1 by root of VR. Cj1 is equal to k divided by root of VR1. Cj2 is equal to k divided by root of VR2. Now the ratio Cj1 by Cj2 is equal to root of VR2 by VR1. Cj1 by Cj2 is equal to root of VR2 by is 4 and VR1 is 1. So 4 by 1 root is 2. So Cj2 is equal to Cj1 by 2, which is equal to 1 by 2. The option answer is 0.5 picofarad. Next, in an abrupt PN junction, the doping concentration on the P side and N side are 9 into 16 to the power 16 centimeter cube and 1 into 10 to the power 6 centimeter cube respectively. The PN junction is reverse biased and the total depletion width is 3 micrometer. The depletion width on the P side is, options are 2.7 micrometer, 0.3 micrometer, 2.25 micrometer and 0.75 micrometer. Concentration on P side is 9 into 10 to the power 16 by centimeter cube. Concentration on N side is 1 into 10 to the power 16 per centimeter cube. The expressions are W is equal to Wn plus Wp. Also, NdWn equal to NaWp. Now find Wp from the above equations. NaWp is equal to NdWn, which is equal to W minus Wp into Nd. This Wn can be written as W minus Wp from the equation 1. So W minus Wp into Nd. Now or Wp of Na plus Nd. So this minus Wp Nd will goes to the LHS side, will be plus Wp Nd. Then you take Wp commonly outside, because here we have Wp Na. You take the Wp commonly. Wp of Na plus Nd is equal to Wnd. Now Wp is equal to Wnd by Na plus Nd. So this is 3 into 16 power minus 6 into 10 power 6 divided by 9 into 10 to the power 16 plus 10 power 6. The value will be 3 into 10 to the power minus 7. It is 0.3 micrometer. 0.3 micrometer. Next question. The Zener diode in the regulator circuit shown in the figure has Zener voltage of 5.8 volts and a Zener knee current of 0.5 milliampere. The maximum load current drawn from this circuit ensuring proper functioning over the input voltage range between 20 and 30 voltage is, options are 23.7 milliampere, 14.2 milliampere, 13.7 milliampere, 24.2 milliampere. Zener voltage is 5.8 volt, knee current is 0.5 milliampere. To find the maximum load current that can be drawn from the above circuit, the maximum load current which can be drawn in the worst case of minimum input voltage and Zener diode current, source current at the minimum input voltage. Is is equal to V in minimum minus Vz by Rs. The value is given as 20 minus 5.8 by 1K. It is 14.2 milliampere. IL equal to Is minus Iz of min, Is minus Izk. So 14.2 milliampere minus 0.5 milliampere, it is 13.7 milliampere. So the option C is the right answer, because IL will be the maximum load current that can be drawn with the minimum input voltage. Next. A silicon PN junction under reverse bias has depletion region of width 10 micrometer. The relative permittivity of silicon is 11.7 and the permittivity of free space is 8.854 into 10 power minus 12. It is constant value. The depletion capacitance of the diode per square meter is, options are 100 microfarad, 10 microfarad, 1 microfarad and 20 microfarad. Silicon PN junction is reverse biased. Depletion width is 10 micrometer. Epsilon R for silicon is 11.7 they have given. So we have to find the capacitance per square meter. When PN junction is reverse biased, it behaves the parallel plate capacitor whose capacitance is given by C is equal to epsilon A by W, where A is the cross-sectional area of junction, W is the thickness of the space charge, and epsilon is the dielectric space. So C is equal to epsilon can be written as epsilon naught into epsilon R by W into A. So C by A is equal to epsilon naught into epsilon R by W. So epsilon naught they have given 11.7 and epsilon R is 8.54 into 12 power minus 12 divided by W is 10 power minus 6 they have given. So the answer is 10 microfarad. Next. In the circuit shown below, the switch was connected to the position 1 at time t is less than 0. Is changed to position 2 at t equal to 0. Assume that the diode has 0 voltage drop and storage time Ts for 0 less than t less than or equal to Ts. Vr is given by Vr is equal to minus 5, Vr is equal to plus 5, 0 less than or of Vr less than 5, minus 5 less than Vr less than 0. So the given switch position for time t is 0 is 1. Switch position is at 2 for time t equal to 0. We have to find Vr for 0 less than t less than Ts. When the switch is at position 1, the plus 5 volt is applied to the diode and diode is forward biased. So Vr equal to 5 volt. When for t is less than 0, the diode is switched to position 2, that is reverse bias, minus 5 volt, diode is reverse biased. Diode does not turn on to due to the non-conduction immediately, but takes some time. So behave short circuit for small time. The diode remains in conduction during the storage term Ts and output equal to minus 5 volt. So the option is minus 5 volt is the right answer. Next.
For the Zener diode shown in the figure, the Zener voltage at knee is 7 volts, the knee current is negligible and the Zener dynamic resistance is 10 ohm. If the input voltage will be in the range from 10 to 16 volts, what will be the output voltage range?
So the option they have given is 7 to 7.29 volt, 7.14 to 7.29 volt, 7.14 to 7.43 volt, 7.29 to 7.43 volt. They have given Zener voltage is 7 volt, Zener resistance is 10 ohm. The input voltage is being switching from 10 to 16 volt. We have to find the output voltage range. So when VA is equal to 10, the current is I is equal to 10 minus Zener voltage is 7 divided by 200 plus 10 ohm Zener resistance, which is equal to 3 by 200 ampere. Output voltage, which is equal to 7 plus 10 I, equal to 7 plus 10 into 3 by 210, which is equal to 7.14 volt. When input voltage is 16 volt, I equal to 16 minus 7 by 200 plus 10 equal to 9 by 210 ampere. P02 is equal to 7 plus 10I, 7 plus 10 into 9 by 210, the value is 7.43 volt. So the option is C is the right answer. Next. The group 1 lists 4 types of PN junction diodes, matches each device in group 1 with one of the options in group 2 to indicate the bias condition of that device in its normal mode of operation. The group 1 is Zener diode, solar cell, laser diode, avalanche photodiode. Group 2 is forward biased and reverse biased. The solution is Zener diode operates in reverse bias, avalanche photodiode operates in reverse bias. So Zener diode and avalanche photodiode operates in first and fourth are 2. First and fourth are 2. Okay. Next, solar cell operates in the forward bias, but photocurrent in reverse bias. So less diodes operates in forward bias. So solar cell will operates in forward bias, and laser diode will operates in the forward bias. So that is the Zener diode is reverse bias 2, solar cell forward bias 1, laser diode will operates in forward bias 1, and avalanche photodiode operates in reverse bias 2. So 2 2 1 1, the option B is the 2 1 1 2. The option B is the right answer. That is reverse bias, forward bias, and reverse bias is the right answer. Next, a P plus N junction has inbuilt potential of 0.8 volt. The depletion layer width at a reverse bias of 1.2 volt is 2 micrometer. For a reverse bias of 7.2 volt, the depletion layer width will be 4 micrometer, 4.9 micrometer, 8 micrometer, and 12 micrometer. The given data is P plus N junction. The inbuilt potential is 0.8 volt. Reverse bias voltage is 1.2 volt. Width is 2 micrometer. Junction potential is equal to sum of the inbuilt potential plus reverse bias voltage. So Vj is equal to V0 plus Vr. For an abrupt P plus N junction, depletion width is given by W is equal to root of 2 into epsilon s Vbi by Qnd. W is directly proportional to root of Vbi. W is equal to K into root of Vbi. So the width is they have given 2 micrometer, which is K into VBI is 0.8 plus 1.2 the whole power 1 by 2. So X is equal to K into 0.8 plus 7.2 the whole power 1 by 2. So when you equate equation 1 and 2, X will be the 4 micrometer. Next, consider the following assertions. The switch S1 for Zener effect to occur, a very abrupt junction is required. Switch S2 for quantum tunneling to occur, a very narrow energy barrier is required. Which of the following is correct? Options are only S2 is true, both S1 and S2 are true, but S2 is not a reason for S1. Both S1 and S2 are true, but S2 is a reason for S1. Both S1 and S2 are false. For Zener effect to occur, a uniformly doped regions on either side are required. So S1 is not true. So for quantum tunneling to occur, a narrow energy barrier is required. So option A, only S2 is true. Next. Compared to PN junction with Na is equal to Nd is equal to 10 to the power 14 per centimeter square, Which of the following statement is true for a PN junction with Na is equal to Nd is equal to 10 to the power 20 per centimeter square? The options are: reverse breakdown voltage is lower and depletion capacitance is lower. Reverse breakdown voltage is higher and depletion capacitance is lower. Reverse breakdown voltage is lower and depletion capacitance is higher. Reverse breakdown voltage is higher and depletion capacitance is higher. So the given data is PN junction has Na equal to Nd is equal to 10 to the power 14 per centimeter square. When Na and Nd is increased to 10 to the power 20 per centimeter cube, then find the variation reverse breakdown on depletion capacitance. The breakdown voltage is given as Vb is equal to epsilon Emax by 2q Nb, where Nb is doping in low doped region and P plus N junction Vb 1 by Nb, since Emax is a slight function of doping. So as doping increases, the value of Nb decreases since it is indirectly proportional. Depletion capacitance is proportional to 1 by W, where W is the depletion width. So when doping increases, the depletion width decreases, so Ct increases. So the option is the C. Reverse breakdown voltage is lower and depletion capacitance is higher. Next. The electric field profile in the depletion region of a PN junction is equilibrium is shown in the figure. Which one of the following statement is not true? The left side of the junction is N-type and right side is P-type. Both N-type and P-type depletion region are uniformly doped. The potential difference across the depletion region is 700 millivolt. If the P-type region has a doping concentration of 10 power 15 centimeter cube, then the doping concentration in N-type region will be 10 to the power 16 centimeter cube. The solution, as per option C, we try to find the potential across the depletion region. This can be done by finding the area of the given field variation. Inbuilt potential equal to 1 by 2 of 1.1 into 10 to the power minus 6 into 10 to the power 6 volt per meter, which is equal to 0.55 volt. But in the option it is given as 0.7 volt. So the option C, which is not true here. Next. Consider a silicon PN junction with a uniform acceptor doping concentration of 10 to the power 17 centimeter cube on the P side and a uniform donor doping concentration of 10 to the power 16 per centimeter cube on the N side. No external voltage is applied to the diode. The given data is Kt by Q is equal to 26 millivolt, Ni is equal to 1.5 into 10 to the power 10 volt. Ni is equal to 1.5 into 10 to the power 10 per centimeter cube. Epsilon of silicon is equal to 12 into epsilon naught, where epsilon naught is equal to 8.85 into 10 to the power minus 14 F by M, and Q value is 1.6 into 10 to the power minus 19 C. The charge per unit junction area in the depletion region on the P side is, we have to calculate. So Kt by Q is 26 millivolt we have given. Ni is 1.5 into 10 to the power 10 per centimeter cube. Epsilon silicon is equal to 12 into epsilon naught. So we know epsilon naught is 8.854 into 10 power minus 14 FIM. Okay. Nd is 10 power 16 per centimeter cube and Na is 10 power 17 centimeter cube. The inbuilt potential equal to Kt by Q ln of Na Nd by Ni square. So the value it is 0.026 into ln of 10 to the power 23 into 10 to the power 22 by 1.5 into 10 to the power 16 the whole square. P naught value will be 0.757 volt. The width is root of 2 epsilon by Q V naught of 1 by Na plus 1 by Nd, which is equal to 2 into 12 into 8.854 in 10 power minus 14 by 1.6 in 19 in 10 power minus 19 into 0.75 into 1 by 10 to the power 23 plus 1 by 10 to the power 22, which is equal to 3.325 into 10 power minus 6 centimeter. Okay. Wp is equal to Nd by Na plus Nd, and W is equal to 10 to the power 22 by 10 to the power 22 plus 10 to the power 23 into 3.325 into 10 power minus 8, whose value is 3.023 into 10 power minus 7 centimeter. So the charge Q is equal to Wp NaQA. So Q by A is equal to Wp NaQ, which is equal to 4.836 into 10 power minus 7 per centimeter square. Consider avalanche breakdown in a silicon P plus N junction. The N region is uniformly doped with a donor density Nd. Assume that breakdown occurs when the magnitude of the electric field at any point in the device becomes equal to the critical field E critical. Assume E critical to be independent of Nd. If the built-in voltage of the PN junction is very much smaller than the breakdown voltage, then the relationship between VBR and Nd is given by VBR into root Nd equal to constant, Nd into root VBR equal to constant, VBR into Nd equal to constant, and Nd by VBR equal to constant. The breakdown voltage can be calculated from the critical field for one side abrupt junction. Breakdown voltage is equal to VBR equal to epsilon S into E critical square by 2Q into 1 by NB, where NB is equal to ND, VBR equal to ES into E critical square by 2Q into 1 by NB, or VBR ND is equal to ES into epsilon S into E critical square by 2Q, which is equal to a constant. So the option C is the right answer. Consider a region of silicon diode of electrons and holes with an ionized donor density of Nd plus equal to 10 to the power 17 per centimeter cube. The electric field at x equal to 0 is 0 volt per centimeter on the positive x direction. Assume that the electric field is 0 in the y and z direction at all points. So given Q is equal to 1.6 in 10 to the power minus 19 coulomb, epsilon naught is equal to 8.85 into 10 to the power minus 14 cm, epsilon naught equal to 11.7 per silicon, then the value of L in Nm is ionized donor density is given by Nd plus is equal to 10 to the power 17 by centimeter square cube by using Poisson's equations. dE by dx equal to Q into Nd by epsilon, 50 kilovolt per centimeter minus 0 by L minus 0, whose value L is equal to 32.358 nanometer. Okay. So the IV, next question, the IV characteristics of the Zener diodes D1 and D2. These diodes are used in the circuit. If the supply voltage is varied from 0 to 100 volt, the breakdown occurs due to options are D1 only, D2 only, both D1 and D2, none of the D1 and D2. So in the given circuit figure 2, D1 and D2 are Zener diode connected in series. D2 has a Zener voltage of minus 70 volt, while D1 has Zener voltage of minus 80 volt. Supply voltage is varied from 0 to 100 volt. The polarity of the voltage is to reverse bias the diodes. For Zener diode to go to the breakdown, following conditions must be satisfied. That is, current through the diode should be more than the knee current. Voltage across diode is equal to Vz. As the supply voltage is increased from 0 volt towards 100 volt, initially both diodes are reverse biased when the voltage is increased. Note that reverse current of diode D1 is less than that of diode D2. Hence, when Vin is greater than 80 volt, D1 goes to breakdown and D2 is not in breakdown. When D1 goes to breakdown, the current flows. The current through the circuit may be equal to or more than the task required by the D2. But since the reverse voltage of D2 is less than the breakdown voltage, it will not go into Zener region. So the option A, D1 was only is the main cause for the breakdown occurs. Okay, students. With this, I will wind up the today's class of PN junction diode. So far, we have seen PN junction diode, how the junction is formed, the theory behind the PN junction diode, then what is depletion region, what is potential barrier, how the transition occur from conduction state to the non-conduction state. We saw what is forward bias mode and reverse bias mode. Then we saw the concluded with the advantages. Okay, it doesn't require any filament. It occupies only less space. Okay, it can operate in the operation can be lifetime can be extended, and it can be used as a rectifiers switch. Okay, we saw many applications to convert AC to DC rectifying operations. For that, this PN junction diode is being used. I hope so. You understood both the theoretical concepts and the practical concept behind this PN junction diode. So, hope this session will gives you the better idea in both practical and theoretical concepts of p-n junction diode. Thank you, students.